I'm going to make a video which has been requested and that I have been wanting to do for a very long time, and I have to admit that the reason why I've been that long to do this video is primarily fear. I know this is a very touchy, complicated, taboo subject, and I know many people will misunderstand me, many people will try to twist what I have to say. I was afraid of that because I don't want my words to be twisted. I don't want my opinions to be transformed into something that they're not. So disclaimer before I start this video that I don't think I should have to do, but I will have to do it anyway because people are so ignorant nowadays and so ill-intentioned. This is not about Jews, and this is not about Jewish people. This is not against Judaism. This is not anti-Semitism. I'm sure you've all heard of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict in those terms, which I personally disagree with, and probably most of you don't really pay much attention to it, and I'm not blaming you for that. I don't think it's necessarily out of indifference or selfishness. I think it's because there are so many conflicts all over the world, unfortunately, and we feel, at least if you're like me, I feel overwhelmed and I feel helpless and I don't know what to do. But the reason why I'm speaking about this particular conflict and topic is because I think it's one of the most unfair, cruel and long-lasting atrocities ever I have, and I need to speak up about it. We are so ignorant about it and we don't talk about it often enough. At least I think we don't talk about it at all, almost, because of a huge taboo that has to do with Judaism. I think this taboo shouldn't even exist because taboos are dangerous and I believe really harmful things, and they limit your freedom of speech, they limit your mind, and they're an amazingly fertile soil for cruelty and oppression, which is exactly what's happening in Palestine right now. And may I just say, I think this taboo was actually detrimental to both parts. There is no way, however, that I could explain to you in just one video that has to be 10 minutes long at the most, all about this conflict, all about, history and geopolitical and political implications. I'm still learning myself, I'm still researching myself. I'm not in a place to be a teacher and I'm not going to educate you on these particular points, but I really encourage you to, make your own research. However, I can tell you a little bit more and tell you why, most importantly, I stand where I stand. There is this thing called Zionism, which is a completely different thing from Judaism. Zionism is a nationalist and political movement that basically fights for the establishment of the state of Israel in a very specific place, not just anywhere in the world, but in Palestine, where they are already, and there have been people forever living there, doing their life, doing their thing. But who cares, right? I am, for one, opposed to the idea of a state defined by religion, and I hold, like most people, Judaism for a religion, from which, yes, comes a Jewish culture, and obviously, there are Jewish people. And I oppose to it even more when the establishment of this state relies heavily on violence, which is an euphemism for Israel. Many people oppose to Zionism, I'm not the only one, and including Jewish people themselves and including Israeli people themselves, because it's important to understand that by opposing Zionism, you don't oppose Judaism, not Jewish people. You oppose an ideological and political movement that kills, colonizes, exploits and oppresses people in a way that's unacceptable and not justifiable. Yet, you never really hear about it, right? We never hear about it, or at least not with real facts. Why? Well, because people are afraid of being called anti-Semitic. But Zionism is, I believe, an enemy for Judaism itself. I'd go as far as saying that the situation is so catastrophic in Palestine that we are the witness of an ethnic cleansing. And while it may not have been the first goal of Zionism, it indubitably is one of its current results now. And so is the apartheid. And it's actually interesting to note that South Africa and Israel developed quite close bound in the 70s. In my opinion, really, some people just seem to take the notion of chosen people, which is a religious notion that's present in Judaism, not in Christianism, and not in Islam, a bit far. So I'll let you free to check out and make your own research, as I said, as to what the Israeli government inflicts to Palestinian people, and especially to the Gaza Strip. But the government has been called out many times by international authorities for war crimes and use of forbidden weapons. They have never really tried to cooperate nor listen to Palestinian people, and instead they have been trying since Israel was established to erase any proof or trace of Palestinian people and their culture. Basically what they're trying to do is to make us believe that Arabs and Palestinian people were a minority and are still a minority, when it was actually the opposite. The Jewish population was a very small minority. So now, what could we do? Educate ourselves, mobilize ourselves, protest, and I think boycott Israel. I never buy a single thing that comes from Israel. I will do it as long as the country keeps having this terrific and harmful politics. It really seems that the idea of one state, which is currently what most people are trying to achieve, or what people were trying to achieve for the longest time, with Arabs and Jews, Palestinian and Israeli people, isn't going to work. Because on the one hand, first of all, Israel really doesn't want that. They try to make us believe that they want that, but they really don't give a shit. And there is quite a general opinion that's pretty favorable to the way Palestinian people are treated, aka like shit, in Israel. Very few organizations and political parties opposed to the politics of Israel, opposed to colonies and stuff like that. And on the other hand, there's a legitimate, and I think, anger and pain that Palestinian people feel. So that's why I think there needs to be two different states. I personally think there should be one state, and I personally think that Jewish people should stop coming to Israel. If they cannot, immigrate in a way that's respectful and just peaceful and pacifist, they should stay where they are, aka all over the world. But the thing is, Israel does not even want of two different states. Actually, Israel think that acknowledging the fact that Palestine is a state is a threat to Israel. How funny, how ironic. Most countries nowadays acknowledge the state of Israel, but very few countries acknowledge that there is a state of Palestine. We need the colonies to disappear. We need Israel to stop attacking Palestine, conducting blockades against Gaza, discriminating against Arabs, and we need laws to be respected. It's important to realize that yes, Israel does not give a shit about international laws. They do as they please. And what they like apparently is killing and oppressing people. This situation would not be tolerated anywhere else in the world. No one speaks about it, and that disgusts me. I have to admit I am really annoyed, because when you go on Tumblr, when you go on YouTube, you see these people who are like, I talk about, cultural appropriation, and I talk about discrimination and racism. There's actually a huge issue happening in the world. We're the witnesses of what really looks like a genocide, basically. And no one gives a shit, and no one says anything about it. You never see it reported on TV, you never see documentaries about it, you never see people talking about it, you never see young people being taught about. Such a big shame, and honestly, it really breaks my heart. Imagine if it were your country, imagine if it were your family, your ancestors, your culture, your tradition, and people are trying to erase that. People are trying to make the world think you never were here, you never existed, and you deserve nothing. Not even recognition from the rest of the world. And the rest of the world keeps being silent. How would you feel? I know that it makes me feel sick. When people are fucking dying next to your door, you need to address this issue. Israeli people need to fucking wake up. We talk about anti-Semitism all the time, and yes, we need to talk about it because it's important and no one should be hated on, based on their religion or whatever. But Islamophobia is a much worse issue right now. There's a huge issue with the way we represent Muslim people and Arabs. We never want to portray them as the victims. They never are presented in a positive light. Whereas yes, they are the victims in many parts of the world, and one of them is Palestine, and the oppressor, I'm sorry to say, are Israeli people. And we need to fucking realize that and fucking open our eyes and do something about it. So please educate yourself. I hope that this video was interesting and helpful. I hope I didn't offend anyone, It's not my point. That's not what I'm trying to do here. I'm just trying to raise awareness because people are dying, suffering, and their lives are just being wasted and stolen away from them. Okay, thank you for watching, guys, and I will talk to you later. Bye!